taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast for April 4th, 2020. My name is Ash. I'm here as always with Subsidian. This is your source for news, leaks, and insights about games in the gaming industry. It's the Saturday edition of the show. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's not going too crazy and is handling this sort of situation, the world situation, very well. It's we're doing okay over here. I had a bit of a hard day yesterday, just dealing with not seeing people. It's tough. I'm very introverted. I'm really good with staying home a lot, but it's been getting to me. But anyway, so yeah, we hope everyone's doing well out there. Hope that you are staying connected online. Hope that podcasts like this and a community like our Discord server is helping with that kind of a thing. And also, the World Health Organization now says that video games are healthy. So go nuts, go nuts. Just don't get addicted or whatever. Time Being says it's getting to us all. Yes, absolutely. It definitely is. And so, yeah. We hope that, not only is this kind of a thing informative, but also having a regular thing like this show to listen to. Hopefully that helps you mentally. Just have something, have a normal routine kind of a thing. I was talking to my wife about it yesterday. Just having this routine of doing this podcast live twice a week, it really does help my mental state. Anyway. So, hope everybody's coping well. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. We got a surprising amount to talk about today, considering the slowdown in the industry, and some breaking news right off the bat. But first of all, I want to say hello to Subsidian. How you doing today, sir?
Good.
That's good. Yeah, so right off the bat, looks like IGN is planning some sort of an E3 replacement for the summer. This is breaking news. And thank you to Somnolence on our Discord server for dropping this news to us this morning. So IGN is announcing a Summer of Gaming event, a global digital event set to begin in June. And it's they actually reference the cancellation of E3 2020 in their announcement, so they are clearly trying to be some kind of a replacement event for that. They're partnering with a lot of companies, including 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Google Stadia, Twitter, go figure, Devolver Digital, yes, very good, and THQ Nordic, and lots more. Also found out today that Bethesda is not doing an E3 presser. That's sort of officially been announced, and instead of instead of a big event in the summer, they're going to be dropping info more sporadically over the next few months about their upcoming games. But anyway, yeah. So IGN's going to be doing a bunch of live programming, and Saib, you had a rather funny reaction to this.
So my first reaction to this is like, oh, the knives are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the knives are out. For the as far as E3 is concerned, they now no longer have any friends in any scenario, in any place. Everybody in the professional tour wants to replace them, wants to cut them out, wants to replace them as what they are, and everybody is going to be trying to do so. So yeah, hopefully this drives the message home that nobody cares about them, from the people that they've been courting and doing favors and blocking independents and small creators, like all of these people that you were hopping into bed with. All these bedfellows were nothing more than taking advantage of you, and the minute that there's blood in the water, they will go for the throat. So congratulations. I really hope they, pull through.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. But yeah, no, this is this is a definitely knife in the back of E3, because this is like, say they have a really good showing around the same time, next year they'll do it again,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Now
they will try to compete directly with E3, and it's like, huh, which is easier to do? Go off to do something, online with IGN, or spend a ton of money, travel, buy a bunch of like physical stuff, set up, and then waste 2 weeks in LA, which is not a nice city. I mean, it's sort of like, there's very few people that find LA to be really inspirational. And the list is growing smaller and smaller and smaller as the poop map gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So,
yeah, I yeah, I mean, I was in LA. Yeah, not incredibly recently, but yeah, definitely feared for my life on those roads a little bit. Anyway, so I have a few questions about this from the perspective of a content creator, because IGN could be seen as a competitor to the small creators. And so, I'm wondering what they're going to allow. Are they going to allow restreams? Are they going to allow these kinds of things that we normally do for E3? We have to wait and see about all of that. Hopefully, it is more of an open thing. Hopefully, they do set up kind of an industry festival, if you will, and that it's not the IGN show. You know what I mean? So hopefully that turns out to be a really good thing as well. This comment here I wanted to read. Commander Jane Shepard says maybe Bethesda has nothing big to show for E3, or maybe they're being more low key in marketing their games. Yes, they have Ghostwire Tokyo coming. They have Deathloop coming, both of which they were planning to showcase at E3. But yeah, I guess the question being, because there is a degree of crunch that goes into preparing for an E3 show, so perhaps it's just not worth the effort, or maybe those things are not in the place where they want them to be, or perhaps it's not worth the crunch to get them to that point. Yeah, so we'll have to see.
things are really interesting with Bethesda right now, because they, like, their plan to go public was clearly quite, it was like last year before, it really seemed to be in the cards. Like, they were really trying to push, to become this gigantic publisher with all these studios working for them. And it's just like blow after blow after blow has left it to the point where it's like, if they did go public, they wouldn't be getting very much for their shares, and things would be getting worse and worse and worse. And this again kind of really, it really like pokes me with this, because I like all of these games where it's like, yeah, we're going to be talking about them individually. It's like, individually, why not do a big thing together, like even from your own place, or just to host it on Twitch or whatever. Um, but for whatever reason, it's just that we're not seeing very much movement. And the other thing that is strangely missing again in any kind of like announcements or any kind of like feedback or updates is Starfield. Where's Starfield again? Has it been delayed again?
That's a very good question, yeah.
And
Strangely enough, when I was reading
yeah,
up on Bethesda's upcoming game announcements, I didn't even think about
yeah,
Starfield.
nothing, and it's not mentioned anywhere. So, which tells me, I think, that they have really, really included an extra step of trying to crush bugs. Because as we know, the almost like the next like 8 months of work at that studio, whenever they put out a game, is entirely fixing the game that they actually put out, and working on like big patch, or the big DLCs and or expansions that they do. Well, it's like major DLCs. I mean, usually major DLCs. There's rarely a time that they put out anything like super micro, unless it's like horse armor or something. But yeah. It's like, yeah.
Tara K has got a funny comment here. Is Ghostwire Tokyo the game where everyone disappears, or am I thinking of Bethesda's fan base in real life?
Oh, I didn't even see that one coming.
Burn.
The, as soon as they started that, I'm like, oh, Ghostwire, obviously the one where everybody's disappearing. What are you talking about? What, how can you make, oh, it's a joke. It's funny because it's true. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. Well, um, sorry, that Russian accent, that's making me think in Soviet Russia, fan base disrespects you. Um, so, yeah, it seems like they're in a state of licking their wounds right now because they've been blasted by. They've been
Everybody.
blasted by their fans. They've been blasted by everybody for how they handled Fallout 76, and then how they got further blasted for their response to the criticism to Fallout 76. And, Pete Hines coming out and trying to defend, like, oh, we weren't lying. It was true, and it was true when I said it. Well, okay, but that you still went back on it, so,
Yeah,
nobody cares. And also, a lot of people don't believe you anyway.
That's so scummy. It's so scummy, Pete, because you wouldn't like a car salesman, like, oh yeah, this is under warranty for the next 5 years. Oh yeah, we'll replace the engine block, we'll replace the battery core, alternator, whatever, man. This warranty is really good. It's the best one you can get. Okay, cool. I guess I'll buy the car. 2 weeks later, engine block like basically cracks, takes it back, and guy goes, oh wow, the promise was true then, but I mean, just things are a little different now. You see, there's other things to consider, so yeah, you have to shell out $5,000. It's like, what what how, oh, then there's the fee, we're going to talk about the fee. It's like, Pete, why, like, so rude. Ugh.
Right.
So yeah.
Anyway,
It's,
so I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Ghostwire Tokyo is all about. Deathloop I was less interested in, but it could be an interesting game. The thing is, the games put out by Bethesda's sort of satellite studios are usually pretty good. They've got ID Software, they've got Arcane, they've got that studio that does the Wolfenstein games, which I can't remember the name now. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I have a feeling that that you're right. That maybe they're putting that extra effort into squashing bugs in Starfield, just so that they can be like, hey, we've changed, guys. We've changed. Please take us back. Anyway, all right. So that is the big news about the IGN E3 replacement. But there's a bunch of other stuff going on. So The Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely. It was announced by Sony and by Naughty Dog Studios. Officially, it's been 100% indefinitely delayed. And really, from what we understand about this, the game is basically done. It comes down to complications in the current market of getting physical copies out to people. So,
yeah. And the
interpret that as you will, but yeah.
Yeah, so physical in Europe has really been dropping hard, and digital has been rising there. Same thing in Japan and certain, like Japan and Korea, same thing both places. However, in the States, you still have a lot of Middle America that relies heavily on physical distribution, and so there's more collectors that want to collect that stuff. So while it's easy for somebody to look at it and say, well, just go digital, that still isn't an option for a large chunk of of your buying base. And they probably know this because they probably see the sales numbers in the charts on their own. And they realize, well, you know, excuse me, they go with this option of trying to
Okay, we seem
copy out and
to have Saib cutting in and out a little bit here. I don't know why that.
Oh.
What's going on with that? Sorry about that. Yeah, you kind of dropped off the face of the map there for a second. So maybe just repeat what you were just saying.
So yeah, like middle America really doesn't have very much. They still have like certain areas still have really bad internet. You know, still are dealing with like really low quality. So telling them to just download it is not an option for a lot of places. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is, and it's easy for me to forget sometimes that a lot of people do still rely on those physical copies. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be in a place with very good internet, and I have very good internet, and so bandwidth is not an issue for me. I don't have any download caps or anything, but it's yeah. So I have to keep in mind that some people do really still rely on those physical copies, and some people want to own the box copies and the special editions and that kind of a thing. And I know a lot of people are with Cyberpunk, of course. So yeah, that's holding back the game. Now we don't know when it's going to be coming, unfortunately, but when we're in talking about delay, and there's a number of other delays. I'm not going to go through them all, but a bunch of other upcoming games have been delayed somewhat or a lot. But what about the consoles? Now, there was an interview with Phil Spencer very recently, where he talks about how he thinks that the Xbox Series X is still on track for a holiday 2020 release. But Cyber, you're suspecting that there's going to be console delays, potentially, depending on how things go with the world situation. But considering how many components and how the segments of the supply lines and things like that are connected to China, that this could be problematic.
Yeah, and I really think this is going to become an issue. Like right now, they're all saying, "Oh no, don't worry. This is still everything's fine. Everything's gonna go." Because if they were to say, "Oh yeah, we're canceling our shipment," both of them would lose an enormous amount of stock and interest. A lot of them, like, it would be kind of like, it would be a very bad sign. Let's put it that way. It would be a very, 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 very bad sign.
Right, absolutely. But what do you think is going to happen?
It's needing to realize that, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just done, but you cut out again. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with our connection, with our audio connection today. So, what do you think is going to happen with the console supply lines, and like what circumstances? And we'll have to tread lightly as far as our terminology, because the bots are always listening. But what circumstances would lead to a console delay, and what's the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah. Also, maybe we should just move to the voice chat room. That's an idea. But yeah, the I would say right now the delays are probably. I'd say that the delays right now have like probably like a chance, a fairly good chance. I would say probably 30-40% delay chance right now. If things get worse, if they don't get better, then we're gonna, especially if there's like a second round that starts up in over in the east there. If that's the case, then yeah, we're definitely looking at a delay, especially if it's a bad one, for sure. Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay. But now, if that doesn't happen, like, what are we? So, if that doesn't happen, if things just carry on as they're going, like, is Phil Spencer's prediction, like, potentially true that they have enough in place that they can make their holiday 2020 launch. Could there be supply disruptions down the road after that? Like what are we looking at as far as long term, as far as consoles go?
It depends on really what the linchpin is right now. Is that we don't actually know how much they have in stock right now. Like do they have 50% of their stock, 20% of their stock, 80% of their stock? Like how much quantity are they actually sitting on? How much are they how many Xboxes are currently sitting in warehouses? And we don't know that of their initial release. Say their initial release quantity on the whatever release day, they have 100. That's 100% of their preferred launch amount. Say they only have 20% of that right now. That's not looking good. If they have closer to like 60%, that's looking better because they're still getting some of them being made, obviously. So if they're still getting some of them being made, then there's a good chance that we're going to see that that release will continue to go ahead. They may not be able to create as many second wave units, and I mean they might actually sell out of the second wave units, or the post release units that they're working on, and that might grind to a halt. But even if it does, if they have 100%, or even if they have 80%, then I could still see them going with a release, because if they're sitting on that 80% by about launch time of what they would like to have, physically ready to go, as long as they can get that stuff to market, then it's still a preferred choice to actually launch it. You still want to launch it if you have 80% of your stock. You don't want to sit on that for another year until it becomes outdated tech. So yeah, they're looking at that and going, all right, I like this. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of a concept that we can assume that they're rolling with, is like however much stuff they have ready to go, then they're basically ready to go on that.
Right. Okay. And now, how does this apply to the PC market? Like, are we obviously it's harder to get anything right now, but how are we looking at potential delays in any PC components in the near future?
Um, that's a lot different because it's so micro, right? You don't have any one particular place making an entire all of the components that you need for a computer, right? You are
Right.
working
Yeah.
on, and you're buying literally smaller pieces at a time. So one place is making one of many different facilities are making your RAM. One of many facilities are making your power boxes. One of many are making your processors. One of and so on and so forth. There's a lot of diversity as far as that kind of content goes. So we won't see any mass. We won't see any mass like, oh no, suddenly nobody can build a computer. All that'll really mean is that some parts might actually get more expensive, more expensive. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right. Interesting. Another story that caught my attention yesterday. So we're coming up on the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. The start of the mainline series of Super Mario games happened in 1985 with, of course, the original Super Mario Brothers, and Nintendo's got some big plans for September of this year. And apparently, there's a number of the 3D Mario titles that are going to be remastered for the Switch, including Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 64, and Mario Sunshine. The one I haven't played, Super Mario Sunshine. So all pretty good games. But I think, I don't know, Mario 64 definitely was a game changer as far as as far as 3D platforming. It was really broke some new ground and really opened the door for 3D platforming. It really made use of the 3D environments very well. There was not all Nintendo 64 games did that, but they definitely. It's interesting how they kind of there was a fork in the road. Do we go 2D Mario? Do we go 3D Mario? And they were like, let's do both. So, and both versions of those games have continued on into current day. But there's also, and by the way, this is a report from the Video Games Chronicle, but it has also been corroborated by Eurogamer and by VentureBeat, that from sources familiar with Nintendo. So this comes from 3 different areas from inside sources on the issue, and and I say that because there's been no official announcement from Nintendo yet.
Yeah,
but we can of course anticipate one. So this is going to be the year of Mario. Too bad Mario Day has already passed. But yeah, so that if you're into Nintendo stuff, that could be a fun time. If you are a fan of those classic games like Mario 64, which was fantastic. Loved Mario 64, and I think the only game that's really given it a run for its money since is Super Mario Odyssey. As far as 3D platforming Mario Galaxy was pretty good. Didn't enjoy the second one nearly as much, and I haven't played Sunshine, so someone will have to tell me how that game is.
I am personally hoping for Dr. Mario, because we all need that right now.
Dr. Mario. A good Dr. Mario. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. I tried the Dr. Mario game, the mobile one that they just put out. It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the original Dr. Mario, the sort of Tetris kind of a thing. They have they have the pills floating upward. Like what is that? In the new mobile one, it's like I don't really like what Nintendo's been doing with their mobile. Whoever's in charge of their mobile series of games, I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the monetization and the kind of things they're doing with that. So, definitely no Nintendo fanboyism going on here. But I do, love the Mario series of games. It's kind of my introduction to gaming. So, as it was for a lot of people.
I would say, yeah. I think it just boils down to the fact that the game so far, or sorry, the industry so far just has this presumed, like, well, it's mobile. If you're not, I mean, and I've heard this before. It's mobile. If you're not charging $1,500, in special packages every single month, you're just leaving money on the table now. It's like it really seems to like come out as that. Yeah, and that's really not good. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It also it bugged me when I play a ton of Super Mario Maker. I love the infinite levels and the creativity of the community there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of garbage too, but you can sort by number of likes and things like that, so it's really good. But you have to, on top of the buying the game, in order to, unless you just want to build and play your own levels on your local machine, you have to pay for the extra Nintendo Online service. I thought that was pretty dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get some extra stuff with that. You get access to the NES and the SNES virtual consoles, which with a ton of games on there. But it's decent kind of thing. But I was like, why do you need an extra? You have to pay for an extra service in order to connect online with your game like that. What are you doing, Nintendo?
It's mental, right?
So anyway, hopefully it's not like a pay 50 cents for another one-up in these remasters. But anyway, some good old classic games that are being remastered. But also, there are rumors again, corroborated by industry sources from a variety of different, media outlets, that there's a new Paper Mario game coming, and it's going to be going back to the series' roots, going to be more of an RPG focus, unlike some of the later games in that series.
I'm hoping for the RPG Mario.
Another Super Mario RPG,
Well,
or
yeah,
the original one remastered.
The original one remastered would just be really good. It's one of those games that, again, I've never had a chance to play all the way through, but I really did enjoy the game when I played it in the small cases that I could. It's just I never got around to being able to like actually play through the whole thing. And I feel that it's one of their better games as far as like, thinking outside the box and pushing an idea or concept that was, not as like, yeah, it just looks and feels better, I think. So, yeah. No, I would really hope that they end up yeah, I would really hope that they end up pushing that, because I would be very, very interested in seeing far more of that. So,
I mean, you've got clearly the RPG formula works for the Mario universe. It's a very versatile. I mean, they do everything from from platforming to soccer games to just a ton of stuff in between, and they always have. And so, very versatile IP. But I think like they've done a great job capitalizing on different formats for the game. You have your traditional 2D platformers, you get your traditional 3D platformers, and then you have like the 3D world, 3D land style, which is kind of a little different, and all of these different things. And then they've got the Maker. You know what I realized, though, with the latest update to Super Mario Maker, is that a Legend of Zelda platformer could really work, because they added the Link power up into Super Mario Maker, where you grab the Link sword and you turn into Link, and you've got some of his moves. You've got a sword, you can throw bombs and stuff, and this has just opened up a ton of possibilities for like there's some super creative levels, and it's just made me think a Link platformer could really work. So,
yeah, it would be interesting. Well, I mean, they
like
like
a Metroidvania style game set in the Zelda universe.
well, that's like Zelda 2 is basically what you're looking at.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of platforming in that. It was very, very
Yeah.
clunky.
It was yeah. I mean, it was a little clunky. I no, I don't think it was clunky. I think it was fine. Um, like it was one of the first games that at least to me it was like is like you could like learn like the different moves that you could learn, like the whole like downward thrust thing, and then the fact that there were some enemies that you had to have that just in order to like beat them. Um, that's really good. And then I liked
Yep.
Zelda 2 was like I had been when Zelda 1 came out, I very rarely had a chance to play it. Most of the time, um, I couldn't get access to it. What I ended up getting more access to was Zelda 2, and so I got more of an experience with that as my Zelda game than any of the other ones. So yeah, I kind of liked the whole like that world was very unique there. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I like that one.
Zelda 2, that's a game I like watching people play more than I enjoy playing it myself,
Mm-hmm.
which is rare, but that's one I love a good speed run of, because there's so much technical skill that goes into speed running that game. Shua82 says, I want a Nintendo Sony collab, Mario of War. You swing pipes around on chains. Stuff like that it's not, I mean, maybe not that specifically, but they did that collab with Ubisoft where they had the Mario and Rabbids thing. So could work.
Mm-hmm.
They've had Sonic in some of the Mario games recently. Well, they're like Olympic games, and then Sonic was in Smash Bros. Tarika Winnigan says, I know some dude made a Mario game, for first-person Mario game.
Yeah, the first person Mario game. I saw that as like a tech demo. That was genius the way that they like incorporated the ideas and concepts and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Sure.
you know what? For VR, that would be a VR Mario. That'd be fun, like first-person VR Mario, where you're like constrained to a 2D, but you're seeing the world in 3D, and you have to. Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. That could be just kind of what we all imagined as a kid. What is it like to be Mario, just running on this? Are you like running on a wall? Like what does it look like? Terror cases I want an official Doom Animal Crossing crossover. That'd be interesting. Somnolence. I want a Doom clone where you're fighting Nintendo characters instead of demons. You know, I'd be very surprised if nobody's done that, like as a Doom mod. I'd be very surprised if that doesn't exist out there somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if it doesn't come out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. If you like Mario and XCOM style games, it's solid, says Terra K. Yeah, that's Mario and Rabbids. Apparently it is pretty good. I haven't had the chance to try it myself, but it's like it's like a turn-based combat style game, but it's, cutesy Mario crazy Rabbids stuff kind of a thing. Time Bean wants to know, is there romance in the FPS Mario? I don't know. There's romance in every Mario game. Gotta get that princess before she bangs Bowser again and cranks out another abomination child. Yes, that is official Mario lore.
Really? Is it?
Go figure, Miyamoto. Yeah, Bowser Jr. Peach is Bowser Jr.'s mother. Official Mario lore. I couldn't believe it either.
Peach. Princess Peach is... Wow, okay.
I could not believe it either. I've had to look it up multiple times to just be like, are you serious?
Well, maybe it's Princess Bowser version. Maybe that's
Oh, yeah,
what happened.
Bowsette. Yeah, Bowsette is real.
Bowsette? Yeah.
Bowsette is real.
I still can't believe that they've refused to like take that on. It's like that's just money sitting on the table that you guys are just ignoring.
Could be, but then there might be legal complications, like who really owns it then. Because
it's one of those things where I think they could like do some unique editing, and then I think every artist who's ever made a Bowsette thing has said, no, I want this to be a thing. I want this to be a thing. You don't understand. I don't care. I want this to be a thing. So yeah, Bowsette's awesome.
Yeah, I am just yeah. You know what? Okay, now I'm confused because I'm just looking up to verify this whole Bowser Jr. thing. I'll try and clear that up and see if that's actually the case. I could have sworn I saw Miyamoto at one point acknowledging that this is this is official lore.
I really like all those like all of the skits that people create about like Mario and the princess. It's like, so you've got a whole bunch on Family Guy, and then you have just a metric ton of them on like Robot Chicken, and then a whole bunch of other ones where it's actually like they're legitimately poking at it, going, it's like, oh no, you need to come save the princess again. What is this, the third time this week? Why does she keep going out with the guy? Like, it's kind of obvious at this point, isn't it? And like, seriously, I'm not even trained for this. I'm a plumber. Like, it's so funny. It's like, the concept behind just like there's so much you can run with that as far as like just pure comedy goes. It's like she's got a real bad problem of like just like constantly like doing this. Don't know why. Or maybe it's just her security. Maybe her security is crap. Maybe her dad has just like no concept of like security, or maybe the guards are like we're guarding the princess, yay! We're guarding the princess, guard the princess, guard the princess. It's like cool. All right, well, hey, where's you know, where's the princess now? Oh, wow, she was in that room. Like, well, she's not there anymore. Well, we did let in that giant guy with a spiky back. Oh dear, oh dear. We see what we did wrong again. So sorry, so sorry. It's like weird,
Right.
just weird.
So, I may have been wrong about the Peach being Bowser Jr.'s mother. I have to do some more research on this. Because yeah, there's conflicting things. I'm not 100% sure. Let's put it that way, just to be safe. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Oh yeah, Xmax says just checked. Peach is not Bowser Jr.'s mother, at least according to the Mario Wiki. Yeah, that's where I was looking as well. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'll have to, because yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know. I know, Japanese culture can be interesting in these kinds of ways, but whatever. But what the other thing I was going to say? So, I got you all going crazy about it. Well, hey, it's a legitimate. It's definitely something that is a discussion that's taking place out there. So, Tara K wants to know. The real question is, how is she Princess Peach when there's no king or queen of the Mushroom Kingdom? Good question. I did have a Mario book when I was a kid that was it was kind of a choose your own adventure kind of a thing. But it was, if you've found the Fire Flower, go to this page. Like there were some choices like, which pipe should Mario enter? But then there were some that was like, if you found this item, go to this page kind of a thing. And if you haven't, blah, blah, blah. In that book, Peach had a dad who was the king of the Mushroom Kingdom, and he was kind of an idiot, but yeah. So I don't know if that's official lore or not. The whole point of the book was Yoshi had swallowed Luigi, and so Mario shrunk himself down and went inside Luigi to try and gone inside Yoshi to get Luigi out. It was really weird.
There's I think it was Studio C did this like skit on how people came up with the idea for how Nintendo came up with the idea for Mario. And it was like Atari had snuck into their office and had put like laughing gas inside their like main office. This is a really great sketch. Check it out when you can. But basically the concept is like they sneak in there. They're like, yeah, well, we want to make sure that we're always the king of gaming. So this Nintendo upstart company, we're gonna mess with them by putting this gas in their meeting room, and then all of the ideas that they come up will just be literally insane, like dribble. And so then the Mario guys come in and they sit down around the board table and it's like, okay, so we got to seriously come up with a couple of good game ideas. And I was thinking that we should probably have some kind of like realistic a plumber. Let's go with an Italian plumber. Yeah, man. Yeah, and there'll be turtles. There'll be turtles and a star. Yeah, we'll touch the star. You eat the star, and then you become immortal. But we don't know for how long. Unless there's music. There's music that tells us whether or not you're immortal while you have the star. And they just like it sounds like a fever dream. Because if you were to explain Mario to anybody who's not a gamer, who hasn't played it, they'd look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting how the design of Mario was really affected by the technology of the time. They had he was given a mustache and a hat so that they didn't really have to animate hair and like a mouth with the limited pixels they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think what's going on here is that I saw a video with Miyamoto answering the question, is Peach Bowser Jr.'s mother, with a kind of a smirk and a nod. And maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was a joke. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, way to confuse the internet and get everybody talking, Miyamoto. But anyway, whatever. I guess he's earned the right to do that. Speaking of games and games that are upcoming and have just released, there's a few that you folks were interested in, and you asked us to talk about on our content requests channel. By the way, if you haven't joined the Discord server yet, definitely click the link in the description and do that. It's a great place where you can talk to us, talk to other Triple S community members, and lots of great conversations going on there all the time. So click the link below to join. Be sure to say hi to us in the welcome channel. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know in the content requests channel. We try to get to everything as much as we can. And so one of the games that you guys were interested in was a game called Mortal Shell. So we did a little bit of research on it. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. And it's kind of a Souls-like that is being developed by, a different developer, not the maker of Dark Souls, but it sounds really interesting. Mortal Shell will have players awakening as an empty vessel. You'll enter into a world that is shattered and twisted, and it's here the remains of humanity wither and rot. Players are implored to do the bidding of a mysterious being known as the Dark Father, and you'll travel this tattered landscape to track down hidden sanctums of devout followers. Mortal Shell will have you enter the most hallowed grounds to overcome powerful enemies and harvest the sacred glands, whatever that means. There are the remnant anima of lost warriors scattered across the land. You'll be able to inhabit these beings to gain their special abilities and knowledge of weapons. So you discover shells to suit your playstyle. So you can occupy the lost remains of defeated warriors, and so you pick one that best fits your style and utilities, that kind of a thing. Combat is strategic and deliberate. Survival demands superior awareness, precision, and instincts. So it sounds like they're really going for that really precise, difficult Dark Souls style combat. Mm-hmm. It's a non-linear campaign. Draw your own path across the marsh-infested lowlands, through a gargantuan cathedral of obsidian rock and into an ancient crypt frozen into the crest of a mountain. So sounds like kind of an open world kind of a situation going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Deep upgrade paths, so lots of skill upgrades, it says craft unique upgrades, sharpen your blade with acid, study dark arcane abilities, so like an extensive skill tree.
Just so everybody knows, it's extremely bad to sharpen your weapon with acid. I mean, you can clean your blade with it, but you kind of want to avoid putting too much acid on weapons, especially if it's can cause corrosion. This is kind of something that I hope people know, because I feel it's yeah.
Anyway, this sounds really interesting. It's kind of it's more of an indie game, but it's being developed by people with a lot of experience in the AAA industry. And it says here they have an unbridled passion for the Souls-like genre. So sounds really interesting. Now, skills, mountains, darkness, acid. I'll play that, says Time Bean. Acid will not dull a hellblade, says Robin Green. This does sound.
I mean, if you have a hellblade, obviously, right? but I mean, those are really difficult to come by. I mean, plus then you got to do the sacrifice thing. It's just not easily attainable for most people.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Danny Boy has an interesting question. What do you guys think about the Division 2 ban debacle? I'm not familiar with this. What's going on with Division 2?
I, I, not much. So their expansion came out and it looked sort of interesting. I was immediately turned off because it's like, hey, we're going back to New York City, and it's like, oh, that's what I hated about the first game. I really did not enjoy just it's not something that this is not a selling point. No, no, this is definitely not a selling point. But apparently it's gotten things have gotten a little worse, and now they're banning players, and it's like,
What
okay.
are they banning players for?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up. All I know is that there were people complaining that some of their friends were banned, and so yeah, I would assume that it's probably somebody pressing the wrong button, essentially. As well, not literally pressing the wrong button, but it's like somebody doing something wrong, or their scanner like picking up on something that's bad. Yeah, so I'm
Right.
gonna go on a limb and say that's probably what's been going on,
Okay.
and I would hope that, yeah, it's. I was tempted for a short period of time to go back to the game, try it out, and to try out some more stuff, but all I saw is them like kind of going back to Division 1 stuff. And it's like, as far as gameplay, sure, that's fine. But like graphically and like character wise and aesthetically, it's like they didn't they keep going back to they went back to this older stuff. And now you can pick up more winter gear, and it's like, I don't want to look like a like when you have to deal with snow for 6 months out of the year, you really start to dislike the concept of running around in a game covered in like, giant, like, heavy, thick winter clothing. It gets tedious, really, really tedious
Hmm.
at some point.
Fair enough.
So
You
yeah,
know, I
no,
actually
it's.
I really liked the aesthetics of the first Division game.
Mhm.
Like the
Oh
design.
no, they were for sure interesting. And I never gave the game a bad rating because of their aesthetics or because of their looks. I did wish that there would be more character customization, some others. Um, but like that's not what I wanted to see in the second game. In the second game, I wanted them to go in a different direction, but then they keep coming back to the same thing, and it's like, oh, okay, right. So now we're back here at the same point that we were before. Like, come on, like, yeah. Yeah, we want those beach games because like when you're looking at, you know, I look outside this morning and like everything is white. Everything is white. Heavy frost set in. It's like everything down the road, all the neighbors' cars, like the side of the buildings, for crying out loud. Everything's just white, and it's like, well, I guess I'm not going
Yeah.
out for food run today. It's
That's
like,
There's a reason my favorite level in the yeah, in Super Mario Odyssey, my favorite world is the Seaside Kingdom.
mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh yeah, I want to be there, soaking in soda water. All right. Do we?
But but yeah, I mean, it could have something to do with the, like, as time being saying, it's like the cheaters probably is like what's probably happening there. Um, because yeah, that's the other thing that drives me nuts about some of these online shooter games is they attract so many cheaters. I mean, most MMOs attract cheaters. Like, for, I remember the worst of the worst of the worst that you had to deal with when it came to like WoW and stuff that happened there, and it's just some terrible stuff. Like, it's really, really annoying. Um, but yeah, uh, I do want to mention Colony Ship, post a post Earth role playing game. It looks like they're going for a Fallout kind of feel with this game. who in our chat asked us for this. I think it was James. James was asking us in the Discord to kind of talk about this one. So I did some research on it. Looks great. I'm actually really excited for this. It's like a cross between Fallout and what's it called, XCOM. So it's like they're taking the best of XCOM and they're taking the best of Fallout and they're kind of like combining the two. And it looks pretty decent. It's still, I think it's still, well, it's of course it's still in development. It's slated to come out fall of 2021. So that is well over a year away. I wouldn't exactly like put this on your list just yet. You might want to add it to your Steam list because it is up on it's got a Steam page, but it's like well over a year away. And probably with all the delays that we're going to end up getting this year, it could be almost 2 years away at this point. So yeah, that's not good. But at the same time, it's like whatever. Then we got Bannerlord, Mountain Blade Bannerlord.
Yeah, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. I know there's at least one of you in our community has been playing it nonstop. So it's reviewing very, very well. It's not a game that we've had the opportunity or really the interest in checking out firsthand, but it's definitely out there as an option if you're looking for something to play in isolation.
It's in early access. The game overall looks and feels pretty good as far as what it is. And what it is like a giant troop control game. So you're in the field with like hundreds of other units and you're clashing with big fights and wars and cavalry versus infantry versus archers, that kind of thing. And it's based more or less as far as I can kind of see, it's based in like Russian history, like Cusack type area. I hope I'm saying that word right. But it's like this like it's like the Russian Mongolia type area is stretching out from there out to the west. And yeah, so it's an interesting game. The community is on fire for this, which is good, and they do have some pretty good like there's a lot of like political intrigue stuff that happens at the same time. So you actually have a castle and you manage a castle at the same time as like managing your troops, and you have like there's like a bunch of characters and whatnot that you can interact with. Really solid gameplay from what I'm hearing. Looks good. Definitely check it out if you're into that sort of of the scene. If you're into that kind of like thing, yeah, definitely give it a try and check it out. As far as I know, it's not multiplayer, but yeah, I think it's coming along pretty well.
Yeah,
but yeah, early access, so it's not polished yet, but
yeah. But if you want to check it out, that's an option. Of course, I know a lot of you have been playing Doom, so have I. It's a ton of fun, and
sorry, I confess there is online PvP.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
It's not the same as like perpetual stuff. I think you're loading in. It's not like it's not an MMO in the sense of an MMO. It's like I think it's like competition stuff or
it's like the ultimate team battle royale. Yeah, interesting. It's the kind of game we used to dream about, like when we were kids. Like, oh, someday you'll be able to be like 1 in 1,000 soldiers on a battlefield. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. But yeah, Doom also is out, and I was when I originally reviewed it, kind of a brief, more of a reaction, talking about it, not an in-depth review here on the podcast. I was wondering, will the gameplay loop keep me interested? Will it continue to vary things up enough? And so far, it has. I've been loving it. It's been a ton of fun. And man, fighting those marauders is just definitely an interesting experience, though. Thinking about doing a guide for it because that's certainly changed up how you play the game. So Anyway, yeah, so that's a fun one if you like the high action FPS type thing. So yeah, there are lots of games to play. So yeah, lots to keep you interested, and I'm sure you could probably find a lot of free games still if you know where to look.
Resident Evil 3 is apparently doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It just came out as well. It's so far been reviewing very positively on Steam. Um, Seems to be pretty good. Uh, I'm almost been tempted to pick it up myself. I really this is one of these games like Resident Evil 3 and Jill Valentine were these like seminal characters growing up as far as like getting access to video games. And like really early on, I was quite young when I picked up um, Resident Evil, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks interesting." I remember mixing herbs and trying to stay alive, and then I got access to there's a special mode that came in the Nemesis version where you could do this like challenge mode and unlock weapons in the real game. And I unlocked the minigun with infinite ammo,
Oh,
and at
jeez.
that point it was just like it's like I'd walk into a room, I'd be like, "Oh, this room sure looks scary. I hope there's no bodies that are gonna come to life and try and attack me while I'm trying to like loot stuff. Here, let me just mow the room down with a minigun." And you can see all the bodies is like they fall over. And then every time Nemesis showed up, he so in the normal game it's like, yeah, you could fight him, but you'd only like put him down for a few, like, for that room, and then he'd be back to like chase you in the next one. And it's like walking, "Oh, hello Nemi, how are you doing?" Brrr. "Oh, you down, it's cool. I'm just gonna walk past you now. It's good stuff. Keep it going, have fun." Yeah.
Yeah.
um it was one of those ones where it was like of all the stress and like strain of like trying to get through that game, normally, because ammo was a real like really hard to come by. The weapons were like you were constantly juggling things, and it was crazy difficult and very frustrating. But then when you got that, it's like now you could explore and you could like, instead of like, "Oh man, I wonder what was in that one corner. Was there anything in that one corner other than those three giant like the tongue lashing like long monster type things?" It's like, was there anything in that corner? No? Okay, great. Now I can yeah, now I can check that out and satiate my curiosity. It's like I can go to every room and look over every room and check absolutely everything because I want to. And yeah, it's really interesting. I don't think that they have an infinite minigun in this game. I'm sure that they're going to mod it in because, good lord, there's already mods for this game. It's only been out since the second, and we have 3 pages of mods up on the Steam Nexus.
Hmm.
Or sorry,
I wonder
not
if
Steam
people
Nexus,
started
up on the
modding
Nexus site.
I wonder if people started modding when the demo came out, because the free demo. Like, I wonder if that.
Probably, probably gave them some access to it. Um, but yeah. Uh,
Interesting.
now, now some people are annoyed that there's certain areas that have been cut from the game. So lots of people are like really don't like, you know everything's been removed, the gore's been toned down, all this stuff. Well, yeah, because when this game originally came out, they didn't have to like, be cognizant of that. So now they do, which is, I mean, if you want to take that up, I mean, you get to take that up with the ESRB rating system. um but then a bunch of other stuff like has been removed from the game, and that includes the clock tower, gravedigger, the park, city hall, grave did I say graveyard? No, gravedigger and graveyard have both been cut from the game. A handful of other locations. Now let me explain how this works. Unfortunately, like the graveyard and the clock tower, you're talking about an entirely new asset area. It's a huge amount of work that yeah, in the original game wasn't that hard for them to like create new areas and stuff like that. It was kind of somewhat sort of easy. Now to make something that's got this high level of like graphics fidelity and stuff like that, it's a lot of work to put in these areas. I'm not excusing them for not having it in the game. I'm merely explaining that the developers, when they're doing like full on remakes, they have to make a choice between, the mapping areas. What are we going to do on the map? For some games, they need to increase the number of the diversity of the maps and the locations that you're playing with, because it's difficult, right? It's genuinely hard for people to to play a game that just has the same like 5 rooms over and over and over and over again. It's like people hate that. Whereas this, it's like, no, this is like, oh yeah, the spiders. Like another thing, it's like you have to, animating a spider and doing a rig for a spider is actually kind of difficult. Now, if you're just doing like a basic spider, sure, it's not that hard, but you don't want a basic thing with this game. You need to make sure that the realism and the look of these things is, it doesn't come off as jokey or weird or whatever. Um, and again, I understand some people are really upset with this. There's some people who just really, really, really are really peeved off about these drops. But all I'm saying is these drops may not necessarily have been those probably would, none of these things probably came as easy decisions. There was probably somebody who spent a week or more stressing about the fact that they couldn't add this stuff to the game and making the hard decision to say, we have to cut back on this, or this game is going to be in development for another year. That's really what happens in some of these cases with some of these remakes. Now, some remakes are bad. I don't think this game is bad. I think the game just doesn't have everything that the original one had, and considering the big diversity of locations and locales that you could get to in the original game, I can understand why some of it was cut to make, to give room for some other stuff. There's also some thematic elements too. And here's the other thing that I really hated. I really hated this in the movies, in the games. I absolutely cannot stand uh, a game that's based on a virus, a viral contaminant thing, getting into the brain stem of a person and then turning them into a zombie, and then there's some mutation going on. How that affects and changes, um, how like graves, like, people that were buried for many, many, many years before the virus outbreak, how they're suddenly breaking out of their coffin is so, it's so dumb. And it really breaks immersion. It really does. Because there's a whole bunch of problems with this. Number one, how does the virus infect somebody who's inside a casket, who's dead inside a casket, inside a concrete casket thing? Because that's what they do now. They don't, most places don't just bury the casket. They put it inside this like concrete thing that goes into that, and then the lid is placed on that, and yeah, like how does it get to the body, and then how does the body break out? And the body's like usually rotted considerably. Isn't that enough damage to the brainstem already? Like, it's just these facts that don't really line up. And I mean, I know it's a
You're
horror
you're,
movie
you're overthinking a
or a
zombie
game.
apocalypse, I think.
I know, but it's like they're saying that this is viral. How exactly is it? Like, it makes so little sense,
I,
and
I,
it's
I don't know,
really
but they always,
irritating.
like, all zombie games or all zombie scenarios have these
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, right. And it's frankly, yeah, it's frankly annoying. Um, Now again, I'm being nitpicky, but I'm also looking at this and going, oh, the graveyard and gravedigger's not in the game. Well, good, because that was the number one issue that I had with the last time that I played the game. So that's actually a good thing to me. Um, but again, I understand like Clock Tower and Graveyard and that kind of stuff. I get that there's some people who wanted that. The Clock Tower was kind of cool. The park was kind of cool. The park, I don't know why they couldn't have added that to the game. Surely they had they had enough assets for that. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Yeah. Then there's a couple other like kill cams and kill moments that weren't added to the game that they feel like they should have, and it's like yeah, again, um like I get it, but it's also it's not as like this really is not the this really is not how the game how like you can't just take a game and just completely reboot it with ease. You usually are faced with some difficult challenges. There are games that can do that because of like the simplicity of the old games, and I'm really looking forward to Trial of Mana because they really have done a really good job with that. Um, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, it's like if somebody's sitting down and they're playing this game and they didn't play the original, they're saying this is a really great game. There are some people who are like, this is not a perfect exact replication of the original game, therefore this is a sin and it must be. It's like, all right, if you really feel that way, sure.
Yeah.
So I it seems interesting. The online PvP, haven't heard too much about that one yet. Looks or sounds interesting. Has, I think, maybe. So yeah, it's
We're having a couple of audio
it's
glitches again, which is really frustrating. But
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's doing very well. But another one you can definitely check out if you're looking for something to play. All right, so we need to talk about Gearbox. Reluctantly, it's a company we do not particularly enjoy talking about.
We have a bit of a history with them, yeah.
So, the parent, for some context about this, the parent company of Gearbox, 2K, they absolutely destroyed a fellow YouTuber that was covering Borderlands 3 before Borderlands 3 came out. Supmato, a lot of you are familiar. So he got completely destroyed. He had people showing up at his house. He had investigators showing up at his house, and then 2K abused the YouTube copyright system to basically destroy his YouTube channel. And we had worked with him on, we'd collaborated with him on a number of occasions. So it was really rough to see that happening. But yeah, and Take-Two or 2K had asked him about us, suspecting us of God knows what. There's nothing nefarious going on in any of these dealings, with Supmato covering the leaks and other info about Borderlands 3. Nivozzy's wondering how is Supmato now? I don't know if you've had any contact with him, Saib.
No,
he's kind of disappeared. From everything we know, he's doing okay, but
yeah, from everything that we knew, he had like, they let him, like, whatever. They destroyed his entire online career. They destroyed his YouTube. They destroyed his Twitch. They destroyed everything. And as far as we know, he just basically decided to change his focus and to drop pretty much everything online and to focus on his work, his college, and his girlfriend or wife. I can't remember. Can't remember for sure if he was already married or not, or just engaged. But yeah, he decided to just like kind of move on with his life and to kind of, ignore that. So that being said, 2K, Gearbox.
Yeah.
They
So
can-
this is tangential, but we're just putting that in context because are we are I don't know what to say, but we don't like covering Gearbox.
Yeah, we were like, I mean, we were threatened like through Samato. We were threatened by name. A couple other people were, and really, this comes down to the fact that Gearbox and 2K allegedly are just a big pile of poo poo, and it's just
Allegedly.
it's just it's just really frustrating having to deal with them in general. It's like anytime you have a company that's like, no, you will not tell or talk about the game in how you want to talk about it. You will talk about it how we want you to talk about it. And if you have a problem with that, we'll destroy you.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Wait, what? What? Like, what? Wow.
Yeah.
That's, other places just, don't talk to you. Other companies just kind of like, put you off or ignore you, or, at the worst case scenario, some of them might try to blacklist you. Like, but I mean, just covering the game in a way that you don't want the game covered in a situation, and this coming from, Submato and us, we got on and we defended Pitchford in his whole situation with the memory stick and the prawns. He's big, loves seafood, prawns, and that whole situation. We got up and we defended him, and I talked at length on how and why his story made sense, and why it was true. And I still hold to the fact that he it wasn't that he was walking around with a big memory stick full of this stuff. He was actually interested in the magic performance aspect of this one video,
Yeah.
or this one
Which
personality, which again, we pointed out, we gave the reasons for, but for some reason Pitchford decides, oh yeah, these guys, yeah, screw those guys.
well, is it Pitchford though? Because I mean, this was done by 2K, and that's where I was going to draw the
at
line.
this point, we know that Pitchford didn't intervene, didn't care, didn't bother to, like just sat back and was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And he's since doubled down on this like concept, because now, according to the news stories, according to leaks and whatnot that have been reported on by Kotaku, so not us, Kotaku has said, hey, yeah, so apparently, and we know this is true, they don't pay very well. They pay crap for
They
game
pay
development
below
salaries.
industry standard wages at
Mm-hmm.
Gearbox, with the promise of revenue sharing in the form of bonuses.
Yeah. And he basically came out the other day and said, yeah, all those bonuses you guys were expecting from us, based off of the sales from Borderlands, it sold 8 million copies, by the way. Yeah, we're not giving any bonuses out. Well, I mean, you're getting some bonuses, and it's like,
They're just a lot. They're apparently a lot smaller than anticipated.
they're tiny. People, on the last time they did a Borderlands game, people got 6-figure bonuses. 6-figure bonuses. Some people bought houses with their bonus. That's how much of a bonus they were talking about. For these guys who spent 4 to 5 years working on these games, that means something. Now they did this again, taking a wage that is subpar, that's not very good. They have had lots of rumored and allegedly issues with paying overtime and that kind of stuff. And all the while, promise of like, hey, the next game, you guys work. When we ship this game, you can actually get so much money. You're gonna be swimming in money, guys. Come on, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect. You're gonna get so much money, and it's gonna be great, and you're gonna love this. And yeah, this is gonna be great. Yeah, and comes in and says, oh yeah, the 6-figure bonus that we're getting, Well, now it's a four-figure bonus. That's what we're hearing.
And
Is that the bonuses went from six-figure anticipated six-figure bonuses, so north of 100K, to now below 10K.
yeah,
That's a significant loss to you and your life and all of the effort and all of the money that you and all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you have poured into this game, that you have poured in your life into the studio for the past 5 years, and to be told basically, yeah, you're not getting anything for that. And mind you, uh, you know the corporate staff and all of the supervisors, they're walking with huge bonuses
yeah.
again.
And
Again.
the official explanation is that Borderlands 3 was more expensive to produce than anticipated.
It's like
But
that doesn't
that
sound
should,
like an us problem, Randy.
yeah,
That sounds like a you problem.
exactly. Doesn't that shouldn't that come out of the like if you've got a revenue split scenario, so a portion, so after the publisher recoups their cost, revenues start getting paid to the to Gearbox, the developer, that gets split between the company and the employee bonuses. Shouldn't the more expensive game development come out of the company's share of the profits? So yeah, it's we're not. I mean, it's just this doesn't help our opinion of Gearbox. Let's put it that way.
Oh no, I mean they've been in they've been in the toilet, and they've, like, until they offer a public apology and publicly go out of their way to refund Submato and everybody else who was brought down by this thing an enormous amount of money, um, to say we screwed up, we used the system we used a system that's supposed to guarantee, creative freedoms. We used that system to destroy your life, and we're sorry. And here's a giant check for it. And until they pay off their employees' property, um, I am never touching this company ever again. Like, other than to, like, mock them and ridicule them for their stupidity. And again, like, Randy, you know, um, he's in my opinion, having knowing having again, I have to be careful here. Being in the same circles that we have been, I can confirm that Randy is kind of an autistic fellow. And I hate that because I'm in that same boat. And when it comes to this, there's a lot of things things I struggle with, he struggles with. Things that he struggles with, it's common and it's understandable. But I can't defend you anymore. Like, I just can't. Like, you have no backbone. You apparently decide to stab people in the back constantly, and it's just disgusting. And this is absolutely unacceptable. Randy, you know what it's like to be bullied, and you became the bullier. You didn't just become a bullier. You became somebody who sat on the sidelines, at the minimum, sat on the sidelines and cheered it on, and in the worst possible way. And you really embrace the worst aspects of everything that's ever thrown at me for being autistic. All the insults that were ever, like, chucked at me for being, uncaring robot, you know just out to watch the world burn, whatever you want. Like, pick your poison. There's a lot that's been thrown our way. It's like, congratulations, Randy. You embraced all of that by standing on the sideline and basically watching somebody's life get destroyed, saying nothing when you knew that it was your own company's mistake. And as far as those other leaks, you also know where those came from, and there's a reason why you guys stopped investigating that too. And we know it, and a bunch of other people know it. And yeah, 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 we all know where that stuff came from, Randy. So yeah, allegedly, people know the truth. allegedly.
There you go.
It's disgusting.
So
and
yeah,
this is
Gearbox
I
has...
suspect that Gearbox is going to suffer a major brain drain from this. I
Well,
suspect
yeah.
that there's going to be a
Who's
ton of
going to stick
developers
around? Like,
walking out.
you agree to work for less than average wages, with the promise of this revenue share situation. So you're still pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into creating this game, making it really good, and then you get stiffed. Yeah, absolutely disgusting, in my opinion.
So that's our opinion on the matter. It's pretty bad. It's pretty terrible.
Just an opinion.
Everybody's calling
Just
them
an
out.
opinion. If anyone is got their itchy finger on the goon button out there, we're just expressing opinions, which is, absolutely 100% protected by law. So let's just put that right out there. All right. And I think that about does it for today.
Yeah.
Any final
stay safe, everybody.
statements?
Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you don't touch your face. Wash any packages that come in. I goofed. I got a package in the door yesterday. And stupid me, I went, grabbed the corner of it, threw it into kind of like a decontamination box that I've set up. And then I went to the bathroom and touched my face without thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, stupid me. So yeah, like even I forget this kind of stuff. I was like, what? No, and I realized after like I was doing it, like I like going through the morning ritual, right? And it was like, oh, what did I just do? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? The water was running, the soap was there in my other hand, and I was like, why did I do that? So I'm like kicking myself for that. And it's just like what? Oh man, it's just you get into these habits, right? And it's so hard to break the habits, especially when it comes to like morning routine. It's like, you gotta brush your teeth and clean your face and do all that kind of stuff. And it's like normally you just kind of like, I'm kind of one of those people that like step in the mirror and you do the face rub thing, where it's like oh, what? And then it's like, crap, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, like break those habits because they're really annoying. They're really rough. And I did not expect them to deliver the thing at like 8:00 in the morning. I was like, what? Why on earth is somebody ringing the doorbell at this time in the morning? Thankfully, he just left it between the doors. But still, I was like, oh, what? WTF? No, no. So yeah, I'm like kicking myself because like, yeah, packages are one of those things where it's like, it's just like, they're safe-ish, right? But it's like you want to treat it as a contaminated thing, right? You want to take it with as much like caution as you can, move it carefully and cautiously from point A to point B, and then that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. And
right,
I did that. Walked in the bathroom, proceeded to like, slap my face and go. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, just crank your antivirus settings up to maximum, and hopefully you'll be okay. And with that, we're going to wrap up the show today. So thank you so much, everybody, for the great conversation in the chat. We really appreciate it. Apologies for my little slip up with the whole Bowser Jr.'s mother thing. I just kind of blurted it out, and then I was like, well, I should check that.
One of those things that is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but I don't think they'd ever like actually confirm it.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, what do you expect? What do you expect?
Whatever's going on there, I'm a little confused actually about what's actually happening with that story.
Or it's an inside joke.
Yeah, it could be. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Please slam that like button if you haven't already. We really appreciate that. It's especially important right now as far as helping get the content out there. And subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave comments down below if you're listening after the fact. We really appreciate that. Special extra super duper thanks to our Patreon supporters and channel members. Those folks are super important right now, as ad revenue has just really gone downhill, so we really appreciate all of you. So our big darn heroes on Patreon, Josh, Robin, Time Being, our 2 anonymous supporters, really super duper appreciate you. Channel members, Mr. Pazdernick, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Night City Punk, and Terror K. Love all you folks. Also, all of our Discord community members, you are great. And for those of you who listen after the fact on the audio-only platforms, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, any of those, we appreciate your interactions there as well. It does take us a little bit of time to get the show processed and put up on those audio platforms, so if you want the latest info sooner, definitely subscribe to the Triple S League YouTube channel. And there you can find the live show on Wednesdays and Saturdays, where you can interact with us and other listeners, be part of the discussion, and also find all kinds of other gaming content on our channel as well. So see the Discord server for exact times and schedules there. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Ash, and on behalf of Cybe, thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon.